Hey guys, I want to give a quick little thing. Sorry if I seem a really bit excited during this video. My cat just had kittens, and she's a calico cat, and I now own a male calico, which is super rare. So yippee! But I hope you enjoy this video, and let's get started. The war on Earth had become a race between angels and demons fighting each other for dominance and survival. They came uninvited down to Earth to continue their fight that had started millions of years ago, leading to the panic of the humans as the sky people fell from above, and some getting back up, and some drenched in blood. Ever since the humans went into hiding to go as far away from the beast as possible, all three races had to do anything they could to survive, even if it meant death for some. Looking at the window, the fights will rage as humans had to watch what happened and see their once peaceful cities, towns, and homes crumbled beneath their feet and before their eyes as they hid away in the darkness. Normal POV, aka no one's POV. Shit. The human girl looked outside in horror. Bodies fall through clouds and fell onto the dusty floor. Windows broke and shattered at the impact. As I stared, I too afraid to move. What the heck is going on? The little brother I can't say that word. It's a Japanese word. Basically, I'm going to call him Steve. Asked her as more of them things fell. Down the hallway, I heard movement, so I went to see what it was. Steve followed closely. The neighbors on my apartment floor rushed out of their homes, or they carried stuff to keep them safe. James, what are you doing? I asked my well-known neighbor with bags in his hands to lock his door. He turned to us, his eyes begging for help, for mercy, as he said in a quiet voice, "I'm sorry, Yin, but I'm not staying here, like sitting ducks waiting to be killed. I'm going to my girlfriend's house for a bit." It was a bit sad to hear it, but I get it. I and Steve hugged him and wished him the best of luck as he jolted into the elevator. Everyone was in panic. I, surprisingly calm. Then I saw an old couple trying to carry some heavy bags to the next elevator. "Steve, go back inside and grab some food and hide in the closet, okay?" He looked up at me with puppy eyes, nodded, and sprinted back into safety. "Here, let me help." I grabbed the heaviest things and went down with them until they reached their car. "Thank you, dearie." The old woman smiled up at me as she gave me a small side hug, and the couple drove away. But something almost fell on top of their car at the last minute as I screamed for them. Curiously, I walked towards the thing, and it looked disfigured. A bony creature with pure white wings and a bloody red blood dripped from its mouth. It had dark hair, and it was a girl. I think an arrow had pierced through her heart. Then she moved, her bleeding head and her lifelessness. Whole eyes stared up at me. I ran. I was too scared to stay here, so I went back into my apartment, locked the doors and windows, brought my phone. I needed the blankets and hide in the closet with Steve, away from the noise and terror from outside. I held on tight to my brother. His head rested on my chest, and he soon fell asleep. I then closed my eyes and fell into a deep sleep, blocking out all the noise of screaming and pain. Bakugo's POV. It was nightfall. All the humans went into hiding as the war kept going. Fire and smoke were to be seen, and the only source of warmth that was there in this breezy city. Bakugo fought hard for his championship, but he needed to rest. He flew away from the scene with his dark red wings to a much quieter place. A small building came to place as he reached down, but an arrow nearly missed him and sliced his cheek. He glared at the angel with green hair as he dove down. Another arrow was shot, but this time it hit his left arm. He groaned in pain as another two hit his wings. He propelled himself down to a window and crashed through it. He stayed on the floor as he heard the angel approach. He held his breath and played dead, like a possum. The angel then left him alone. Finally, Bakugo got up, but stumbled a bit as blood poured from his body. A whisper came, caught his attention as his pointy ears turned at the direction where he heard it. What was that? He walked quietly and stealthily towards where the noise was heard. He put his ear on the door. He detected something, 2 heartbeats, pounding rapidly. As gently as he could, with his king black nails, he parted open the door and took a peek inside. His glowing eyes looked back at eye-colored ones. He felt sympathy towards the humans. This wasn't supposed to happen, yet the angels thought it would be perfect. It would protect their homes while destroying his and the humans. Pathetic pure pussies, he thought. He opened the door a bit more and his whole body was showing. The human girl held the sleeping boy in her arms closely. They looked alike, siblings perhaps. His brows furrowed as he bent down. I'm not going to hurt you guys. No one's POV. Yin looks at the demon in confusion as to what he just said. He looked almost human and harmless. He looked safe to be around, which calmed down her quickly beating heart. She then noticed the arrows stuck in his wings and his arm. Why should I trust you? She said in a small voice. Bakugo knew she was terrified of him, and he couldn't blame her. He reached out and put his hand on her shoulder as she held in her breath. Because I'm not like other shitty demons or angels, I promise. He stared deep into her eyes. She looked for any trace of lies in his face and his eyes, but none could be found. Slowly, she put down her brother and laid him gently on the floor with some pillows and a blanket covering him. She stepped out of the closet and went behind the demon. He looked surprisingly spectacular and wondered what she was doing. I'm going to take the arrows out. Be quiet because I don't want my brother waking up to this, okay? He nodded and stayed still. And then came pain a bit. He bit down on his lip to control the noise and shut his eyes tightly. Yin placed the bloody arrow on the floor and went to get some bandages. Bakugo looked at the small being in the closet and saw dried up tears and his cherry red cheeks. He put his hand on top of the head and rubbed it smoothly. Yin came back to the scene and saw the demon comforting her sibling. In fairy tales, usually it's the demons and shadows that are bad guys, and the angels save and protect. But now, it does not look that way. Did they tell her lies? She walked back and sat down, gently grabbing his arm and pouring some alcohol on the wound. He hissed in pain like a snake. Sorry. Could she be any more innocent? Bakugo stared at her demeanor, determined to heal him. Humans were supposed to run in fear, away from beings like him, yet she did not. But he felt something to do with the type of demon like him, lust. This moment, he was getting weak. Did I pick the wrong story? Oh no. His eyes widened as his demon urged him to do something, anything. Yin looked at him and started to shake. Dude, are you okay? As she took her hand off his wrapped arm, he grabbed it and brought it to his lips, almost gentlemanlike. He kissed her knuckles, and once the warmth of her hand touched his cold lips, he couldn't stop. He repeatedly kissed it, and then started going up her arm. I think I picked the wrong thing. Oopsies. His demonic lips left red marks in its tracks. Yin was in shock. A dark blush coated her chubby cheeks as he kept going, his touch sending goosebumps across her arm. It ended up on her neck, and finally she said, sir, what are you doing? Need to feed. And with that, he pulled her closer on his lap, and his wings encircled her entire frame and his. The kisses became a bit rougher as he now left purple marks on her skin. His bulky arms wrapped tightly around her as he growled into her neck as he did the same treatment to the other side. Her shaking arms tried to push him away, but his sneaky tail caught hold of her hands and put them behind her back, leaving the human girl at the demon's mercy. Sir? Bakugo Katsuki. Okay, Bakugo, could you please let me go now? He stopped and raised his head to be eye level with the eye-colored girl. And then it happened. His icy lips made contact with her own. The situation was weird and different for both of them. He held onto her cheeks tightly, like she would disappear when he let go, but then pushed his snake-like tongue into her mouth and explored everywhere. A small moan came from her mouth, which pushed him more to make sure she was covered in his scent and his. When he noticed her wiggling, he remembered she needed to breathe, and detached from her. She breathed heavily, and he held her close. His tail let go of her hands and instead wrapped around her waist. As if he wanted her closer, his arms were pressed up against her arms were pressed up against his scarred chest. Do you want me to finish with the arrow? He chuckled and tilted her chin up to meet his. She was cute. He had to admit it. He leaned down to her ear and nibbled on it and spoke. No need. I have gotten enough energy to heal myself. Thank you, mortal. For a second, I thought I was reading the wrong book because we are not supposed to have any, and I mean any spicy stuff here. But nope. But thank you guys for listening, and I hope you enjoy. Bye, lovelies.